Hello, my name is Michelle Agatstein, and today I'll introduce South Korea's Teaching English and English Policy, or the T Policy. T was enacted in 2010 from the belief that teaching English as a foreign language with classes entirely in English would be more effective at reinforcing students' speaking proficiency. The policy allows some wiggle room for instructing in Korean, depending on the student's English levels, for example, or for explaining difficult grammar concepts. However, the policy encourages engaging the students in English as much as possible. To understand and reflect upon this policy better, allow me to take you back in time to the English language's introduction in Korean schools. Here's the story in a nutshell. Throughout much of its history, Korea remained an isolated state. But 140 years ago, in 1882, Korea opened to Westerners for trade. Commercial treaties were signed with the US and European countries, leading to a need for officials who could speak Western languages. English and other foreign languages became available to study, particularly at vocational and religious schools. Fast forward to 1974, English became a compulsory subject for every middle and high school student, and in 1997, English was embedded into the elementary school curriculum as a regular subject, with third grade students beginning to study it for an hour a week. The Teaching English and English Policy, the T Policy, was introduced in 2010 as a solution to parents wanting more English learner opportunities for their children. English is an important and difficult component of the university entrance exam, which students prepare for from a very young age. Parents invest a significant amount of money into their children's education to give them a competitive edge, paying for private education, and sometimes even sending their children overseas to gain real-world language exposure. After the Asian financial crisis and amidst the economic uncertainty that was pushing parents to attain better education for their children, the government saw the need to improve the public education system and public perception of it. They also sought to reduce costs parents were investing in private education. T was the government's solution to these issues. Then, and still today, English is seen as essential for national competitiveness, Korea's involvement in globalization, and especially for economic relevance and growth. Let's examine the advantages and disadvantages of the T Policy in practice. Remember, the goal of the T Policy is for teachers to engage students in English as much as possible. The strengths of T do align well with its purpose. It affords students more exposure to English and perhaps the only English-speaking practice they'll have in their day. The combination of exposure and repetition builds confidence in learners. With student-centered learning, it can also replicate real-world contexts for students to develop their speaking and listening skills. Unfortunately, many Korean teachers lack the confidence to speak in English for long periods of time. This causes a great deal of stress as a teacher and may remove the joy from the learners. To address this, the government created a T training program and a certificate to show completion. This could aid in teachers' confidence, job security, and be used as leverage in an English teaching career. On the other hand, English fluency is not commonly the goal in English classes. Remember how we talked about the university entrance exam? Because of its rigid structure of the English portion of the test, which relies mostly on grammar and memorization skills, it limits student interest in language production skills. Students are more interested in scoring well on the entrance exams and being admitted into a prestigious university, more so than communicating proficiently in a second language. This ripples up to the teachers, who are already constrained by time and the stress of teaching in a foreign language. Therefore, English curriculum, especially at middle school and high school levels, focuses more on the exam prep. The curriculum is not loose enough to allow for creativity. Additionally, there is debate about the foundations of T. Is there a limit to a student's learning ability when they are only taught in English? Research has shown that a mixture of Korean and English in the classroom is more effective for learners and easier for teachers. Even with the implementation of this policy, Korea still lags behind other non-English speaking countries on English proficiency tests. So what are some proposed solutions? Schools should continue to recruit qualified English teachers with strong ESL teaching backgrounds. The T Policy could allow for more Korean-speaking flexibility in the classroom, where appropriate, to boost comfort and confidence for teachers and students. More time can be allotted to language production practice in the classroom. Additionally, to improve fluency, teachers can implement project-based learning with more contextual practices that relate to the real world. The T Policy has merit and is a good starting point. But allowing for more creativity and engagement in the classroom will serve students and teachers better. Ultimately, though, T is the tip of the iceberg in the Korean education system. It's up to Koreans to decide what is the most important end goal of English learning: university exam preparation or confident communication abilities.